Okay, why don't we get started? We've got a fairly full agenda tonight. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Comments from the public? Seeing none?
No.
Okay,
Hi. Thank you. I just wanted to, Kim Alberton, teacher, community member, parents. I just wanted to reiterate the comments that Ms. Mann made last week about the superintendent search and just really put value to that. There was a lot of time invested. We really appreciated you listening to us and we heard you. We did hear you say we just really need to trust that you're taking care of things. And I agree with that, but I've been really concerned as both a parent, teacher, and community member. Because I feel we're fractured and I want to make sure that you're really doing that and really listening to those comments that were made. The volumes of paperwork you were given. Part of that is we have tremendously grown as students, as you know, but I feel daily in my practice and in my community life that we're steering away from the actual student. And we're continuing to look at an administrative tier. So please know that we're all listening and we're really trying to trust, but it's difficult. And I appreciate this on the agenda later this evening, but it's a huge concern, and I just wanted to voice that.
thank you, Kim, but I will tell you that the committee has been meeting and planning, or you could call it plotting, and we will get information out to you as soon as it's available, okay? We have been meeting, we have been talking it over. Okay,
Thank you, Kim.
we're gonna move on to the culinary presentation. We have a,
Jen, gonna just introduce Tom and the
I'm
team?
just
Yeah.
going to introduce our culinary team. I want to first start by saying that Dr. Bucky sends his regrets that he can't be here in person tonight to acknowledge your accomplishments. He is in DC at the National Advocacy Conference, so I just wanted to start with that. We're both so proud of both teams that will be represented tonight, and so I wanted to make sure that was said, that he really does send his regrets. I had the distinguished honor of being invited to taste test the entry of the culinary club. And I have to say, while I'm no Gordon Ramsay, it was really, really good. And so it was a testament to the hard work and the weeks of preparation that you all put into this entry that earned you a second place silver at the Pro Start Invitational. So I welcome the Culinary Club.
Here, you won't get any farther than Tim Lepre. Maybe one over here.
Thank you very
That's
much.
amazing.
Wow. You could go to the podium if you want, so they can hear you.
So this is just one of the courses that we prepared in competition. As you can see, this is our dessert course, which is a classic crepe Suzette. We snazzed it up a little bit for presentations, but please take a fork and knife and get into that while it's still warm. And as Ms. Saradella said, these guys worked very hard. It wasn't weeks, it was months. Every day after school, these guys were practicing, and they really perfected these dishes. In fact, they could probably do it in their sleep by the time we got to competition. But I'm very proud of them. They were just terrific. They worked so well together as a team. It was amazing. And like I said, I'm just so
I'm
proud
gonna
of them.
pass
And
some of that silverware down, Lepre.
I believe they're proud of themselves as they should be. Yes, so
don't have it
starting
together.
right here, we have Vanius. Can't say
I'm
his
gonna have
last
to
name
trust
yet.
my teacher, 'cause I just ruined my taste buds by
Michael
taking some
Bartley,
nicotine gum. So.
Sydney Higgins, and Malkia Lake. That is our team.
I think Vanius should be able to say his last name, so
He
we can
can't
hear.
even say it.
It's Valentikavicius.
Is it?
If I was
Wow.
from Lithuania, I could probably say it.
To have a bite for me
Well,
too.
Are there any questions for me or?
We put a little PowerPoint together, and maybe you guys could just look at the pictures and give a little update on what the pictures are, if that's okay. You've seen them all, but you didn't know I was doing this. So, can't really see it. Would one of you just read the menu that you made?
Come on over.
Alright, so for a starter, we had a freshly homemade pasta with sauteed shrimp. And it was garnished with a chiffonade of basil and biased scallions and small diced tomatoes. And for entree, we had a pan-seared duck breast with a potato galette, sauteed spinach, and cabbage. And for dessert, we have the crepe Suzette.
So I got to go along as a chaperone, so I just took the liberty. This was check-in at the hotel. Very excited. It was at Gillette Stadium this year, so it was really fun going to Gillette. First stop after we unpacked was to go shopping, to sort out the fresh goods for the next day's preparation. Oh, how did that get in? Oh, that was Mr. Proch's poor job of parking the van. Sorry.
It was a passenger van. It was like,
Am I right?
driving a
Am I
semi.
right? Am I right? I don't know who took that picture. This was at 6 a.m., I think, or soon after, as they arrived at Gillette ready for the competition. They had just checked in and feeling pretty good about themselves and ready to get going for the day. This was Coach's last opportunity to give his team a little bit of pep talk, but they were ready. They were so ready.
Once they get into that zone, I have no communication whatsoever with them. I can't even look at them because they might think I'm throwing signals. So once they got in their area to cook, it was all them, and they were fabulous.
A little moment for some pictures out at Gillette. And this is, so you want to talk about that?
Yes,
the viewer?
as they start competing in cooking, there are at least 3 judges watching them, taking notes on particular things, sanitation and cleanliness, how they work together as a team, how they communicate, and of course their knife skills as well. So the minute they start, the minute they walk in, really, they're being judged.
This is kind of a cool shot because it's above
Yeah, they had
and
the
on the
big
side.
screen up there so people could see.
But you had about, what, 4 or 5 judges around you at any given time?
Yeah.
And then a crowd of people. Talk about that. That was at the end.
They also judge you on your cleanup. You know, people can cook and then just walk away from a mess. When these guys were finished cooking, their station was immaculate.
Yes.
And it was very impressive, and the judges commented on it.
Nobody else's table looked like that, but I wasn't going to add those pictures.
So they have to make 2 of each course. One goes out on display, the other they have to bring to another group of judges who are going to taste and judge on presentation and what have you.
That was after, right? With Matthew Slater, who's
Oh, yes.
the captain.
The team captain from the Patriots was there, Matthew Slater.
Rubbing elbows with
Yeah.
Matthew. And then that's waiting for the results, I think.
Nope,
Well,
they
no,
got-
has
they
the
got
results.
silver
They have
medals
the
on them,
yes.
silver medals.
How
are
many other teams in the
There
competition?
was 13 in
Wow.
all. 13 teams from Massachusetts.
So may I ask the
Please do.
students a question or two? Malkia, you knew that I was gonna. Yeah, okay. Did you have a budget? Or did you have to keep a record of how much you spent on different things that you purchased?
We didn't have a budget, so idea-wise going in, we had like a full playground to like do whatever we want. But like after we had gone over our ideas and come to an agreement on what we were gonna make, we had to like go into details down to like the very salt that we put in and the prices to make the pricing for our item.
And Michael, how much were you able to bring with you? I saw some,
Coolers.
coolers there. And how much could you bring with you, and how much did you have to buy when you were up there?
We could have brought everything, but we bought some of the stuff there freshly because it was better there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We bought our equipment, the inductions, the pans, we had the risers for the tables, and our coolers for the ice.
And Vanius, is there more pressure with the judges there or being in goal trying to stop a penalty kick? There had to be a lot of pressure with.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really feel the pressure. Most of us did fine under the pressure, but yeah, there was definitely some.
I have to just say, watching these guys work together, it was like a super team. They were so well gelled together. They worked seamlessly together. And what was really kind of fun, the night before the competition, Mr. Proch took the team out for dinner. And it was a nice restaurant. And we were, oohing and ahhing at the menu. And after dinner, Mr. Proch said to them, I just want you all to know that the meals that you're going to make tomorrow could be served in this restaurant. And I think it was kind of like a, what? Right? Kind of like, it was a wonderful realization that the quality of food that our students are learning to cook could be served at a first-class restaurant. So
Absolutely.
we're so proud of you guys.
I have to say, I've had a lot of crepe. And not that I go out a lot, but my uncle is a chef who used to do the seafood crepes at the Ship's Inn many, many years ago. Does anybody remember those?
I remember that.
Oh my God. So, this is so light and so tasty. My gosh, I'm so impressed.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
John?
Yeah, they were delicious. Thank you so much. I was wondering, how many times would you say you practice each dish before you went to the competition?
It was close to like 3 months, and we practiced 5 days a week. So
Wow.
I would say
It's a lot of
a
time.
lot.
Yeah. Did you all have assigned roles for the competition?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did the entree. I did the appetizer.
Yeah. I did the entree.
I was kind of like the middle person helping with everything.
And I did the dessert.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Great teamwork. Really, you should be so proud.
Let me just say that there were occasions where one of them had an appointment, couldn't make it, so the other stepped in. And there's always the possibility somebody might cut or burn themselves during competition, so they have to be ready to do the other person's station. And all these guys could do each other's station, but of course, where they really specialize, they perform. So
Fantastic.
Steve?
Well done. Thank
I
you.
ruined
you.
my taste buds with nicotine gum just before this was delivered, so.
well, thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Steve.
Henry?
Wonderful. It's good.
I think this is superb, and I congratulate you. I mean, I think that's a tremendous skill, whether you go into the food industry or not. I mean, I usually end up nuking hot dogs. I wish I had the opportunity to acquire the skills that you guys have shown. This is tremendous.
Thank you.
Proud of you guys.
Thank you.
Great job.
Seriously.
Great job.
Thank you, Mr. Pro. We'll do cleanup.
Thank you, Mike. That's great. Okay,
Okay.
moving on to the swim team.
So it's my honor to introduce Jim Pignato and both of his teams that competed in the state championship, and Natalie, assistant coach, and you have the other coach. I don't see. So Jim, take us through. I mean, the honors just keep coming. So
Yes, well, thank you for having us. I'll do some introductions and then kind of talk about our season. We have Coach Natalie Thompson. She's been with us. She completed her 11th season. Sarah Hanlon, Sam Weisentanner, Macy Kroll, Alexa Aloisi, Sophie Girardi, and Emma Chambers. We're missing one other girl from our postseason team, but these were the girls who qualified. And then on the boys' side, we have Tyler Rothke, James Tafe.
You missed one.
You could skip somebody.
The blue just blends in. So we have Tyler and James, Jared O'Connor, Kevin Johnson, Grant Beebe, Beck Barsanti, and Cooper Norris. And we're just missing, I think, 3 other swimmers who qualified for the postseason on the boys. So all in all, we had 18, which is the highest number of postseason qualifiers in program history. Our regular season, both sides went 10-0. That's the first time that we had 2 undefeated teams, or second time that we had 2 undefeated teams in one season. Our boys captured our 5th consecutive Bay Colony Conference championship. Our girls captured their 4th and 7th in program history. When we got to the postseason, our girls finished 4th overall in the South Sectionals. So that's basically the southeastern region of Massachusetts. And our boys, for the first time in school history, brought home a South Sectional championship trophy. So that was kind of a big highlight for us. But it didn't stop there. That was just kind of the first round of the playoffs. And then we get into the next round with states. Our girls finished 6th in the state, and our boys came home with a state finalist trophy coming in 2nd place. All in all, out of the 12 events that we compete in, our boys set 7 school records, and our girls set 2 school records. I realized I should have Miss Proch along with us so we could have a nice slideshow. But all in all, it doesn't happen overnight, as you guys know. We just can't show up and have this success. It starts from a very young age. Of all these swimmers, I think all but one came up through our youth swimming program with the Dolphin swim team through the community pool and the community school. So they've been doing this for a while. It takes time to build a program, and I told these guys at our awards night that the people that they looked up to when they were young swimmers kind of set the path for this achievement to occur this season with us, and now they have a lot of weight on their shoulders because they have a lot of young swimmers looking up to them, and hopefully we can kind of continue this success throughout the years.
Wonderful.
Aren't you forgetting something?
What's that?
I was under the impression that you had received some sort of award this year as well.
Yes, I have. I was named, let's see if I get this right, the National High School Federation of Sports. I was named the region coach of the year for the girls team, and that came from, I think, last year being named the MIA Girls Coach of the Year. We've also taken home a few other awards locally with the Eastern Mass Interscholastic Swim Coaches Association. In 2017, I was awarded the Girls Coach of the Year. This year, I was awarded the Boys Coach of the Year. Last year, Natalie was awarded the Boys Assistant Coach of the Year. So we have had some recognition too on the coach level as well as the swimmer. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
So if I could just add, I think that our swim team is the epitome of what we want our student athletes to be. They are, every year, I think it's the highest GPA of any athletic team. And I think that's a tribute to them because they have a lot of boat rides and they're trying to keep up with their studies. And I think what I look at swimming, and I've never been a swimmer, but I know that there are times in the year that you just have to grind through it. And I've heard that word used by you guys. And I think that mental toughness plays out in the classroom. That perseverance that you have in the pool is the same perseverance that you need to be successful in school. And so I really appreciate that you can balance all of these achievements with the academic side. I think it's just remarkable. So for all of those parents out there, if you want to know what to sort of push your kids into, swimming would be a mighty good endeavor. So congratulations to all.
Again, yes.
So,
Congrats.
Paul?
Yes, thank you.
Bravo.
Yeah. you've just provided us so many opportunities this season to either open up Facebook or a text or the newspaper and feel such pride for our swim team and your achievements. And it just astonishes me every time I see someone broke a school record. I don't know how you keep doing that, because you keep knocking off seconds and seconds off it, and it's like, is there ever going to be a time when, like, it's not humanly possible to go any faster? I don't know, but it's amazing, and knowing some of you as I have for a long time, it's lovely to see you here, and kudos to Natalie and to Jim, because I think that's a great testament to your coaching. So, congratulations, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Steve?
Let's not leave Mr. Maury out. Well, because he updates us constantly on what's going on with these teams, and it's great. I mean, obviously, we see it in the paper, but Chris is real good about getting all the news out to us as well. So we read about you guys a lot, and it was great.
I think it's a tremendous reflection on, for a relatively small school to be able to produce swimmers like this. I know I worked with Ashley Wilson, and she keeps seeing her records go down, and I kid her about it. But I think this is tremendous to see how successful, but it's not by luck, it's by hard work, and congratulations to all of you.
Absolutely.
Well done. Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
don't have to stay for the whole meeting.
Yeah.
If you want to go home and do your homework.
Yeah. Thank you.
guys.
Thanks
Thank you.
again.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Sorry to eat in front of all of you, but it is awfully good. Moving on to the LaSalle College program update.
And I think we're going to have Kelly Cooney and Jocelyn Ramirez and looks like a host of students. It was wonderful.
Oh, good.
Should
More
we move
students.
down? Do we need to move?
You know, yeah.
What would you like? Would you like them down front
They
or?
have to have speeches, so if they could like go on the stage.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure. You can turn from the edge.
Thanks. Well,
Sorry to say.
got 2 edges or 1?
I'm counting the number of grapes left.
That's the plan.
Gonna be over here or over there?
Girls. So, good evening. I don't have that much to say. It's really all about these 4 lovely ladies and a few other participants. But Dr. Claudia Rinaldi works at LaSalle College, and she wrote a grant to start recruiting kids in high school to enter the teaching profession with a lens to recruiting students of color and bilingual students. And so we were lucky because she reached out to us and asked if we wanted to join in. Martha's Vineyard is also a part of this program, as are 4 or 5 other districts in the state of Massachusetts. So I was really lucky because I asked Jocelyn if she would be interested in being the coordinator of the program, and she works very closely with Dr. Claudia Rinaldi to recruit the students, and then they're going to tell you more about how it's going. So,
Good evening, everyone. My name's Chanel White. I'm currently a sophomore, and I just wanted to say I'm really thankful to be here and explain to you guys the process I've had with the LaSalle program. Having this opportunity to tour LaSalle's campus and speaking to college students and professors was a very influential experience. I would say that I learned the most speaking directly to the students. Considering I'm only a sophomore, I was a bit more inquisitive about the college life. All of my questions were answered to the full extent, from financial aid to simple questions like, when do you think is the best time to start job hunting in college? We also got the opportunity to tour different areas of the campus and learned about the clubs and courses they offer. One of the courses we went to, we actually got to participate in an activity incorporating ideas of how to be a good teacher. Personally, I feel that visiting LaSalle helped me a lot and exposed me more to the college life. What was most interesting to see is how all these students used to be like us one day, and they now rose to adulthood. I learned that college life is surrounded by independence. There are no school bells when it's time to change a class. There's no parent to wake you up in the morning, and it's your responsibility to get where you need to be. This program has taught me more about self-government and determination. I think preparing early is the best thing to do, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity, and I can't wait to go back.
Thank you.
I'm Faith Hensley. I'm in the 12th grade. I actually been accepted to LaSalle. I haven't decided on where I'm going yet, so it's still up in the air. For our 1-credit LaSalle course, we were introduced to an online program. I feel like the online program is perfect for us since we're on Nantucket and Professor Rinaldi is in Boston, so it's hard for us to meet all the time. So we do this Zoom video chat, and she provides us with assistance for questions with our assignments. We're giving assignments with due dates, just like any other homework assignment. It also gives us a deeper insight into what college life is like. One of our assignments was to watch a TED Talk from Rita Pearson, which explains the importance of teacher relationship with all of their students. I think the online course is very effective because for this new generation, we prefer online work rather than paperwork. So this course is really good for us. And overall, this course is molding me to become a great teacher in the future.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Deja Lewis. I am a senior here at Nantucket. And today I just want to talk to you guys about what this program has done for me personally, how it has helped me grow as not just seeing things through teachers' eyes, but making me do better as a student. During this course, we have been told a lot to when we're sitting in class, don't just think like a student and do your work. Think about what the teacher's thinking, what they're trying to teach you, what they're trying. So if you were up there trying to teach a class, how would you do it? And sitting there thinking like that, not just as a student, has helped me figure out that I don't just have to sit there and take notes and copy down the work. I actually have to think about it. What's the teacher really trying to convey to me? And has actually helped me bring up a lot of my grades, which is honestly all I could ask for. It's a great opportunity, not just for becoming a teacher, but understanding yourself as a student. Another thing that I want to talk about is when we first began this course, one of our lessons was another TED Talk by Azul, and correct me if I'm wrong because I am so not good at Spanish. Terrones?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the TED Talk was called What Makes a Good Teacher a Great Teacher? And one of the quotes that his student told him was, a great teacher isn't a teacher. And of course, when he first heard this, and when I first heard this, the first one was like, what? But then I realized that he's totally right. When I was younger, all the things that I learned to do from either my actual teachers or my parents, my friends, I didn't just sit there and take notes or copy down whatever's on the board. They got up, they showed me how to do it, we did it together, and then they made an activity out of it, and I learned so much. But then those classes where you just sit there and you look at the board, you take notes, and you don't really pay attention, my grades sucked in there. I may have gotten all the worksheets done, gotten good grade on those, but as soon as the test came, I was like, whoa, what am I doing? This applies so much, not just to school and being a teacher, but just to life in general. A great teacher just isn't just a teacher. Doing this program has really helped me with my life, my school life, and I hopefully one day I get to show this to the kids that I will be teaching. Thank you.
So these girls have been super awesome to work with. When we visited LaSalle in December, and we got there a little late because of the bus and the driving there, but when we got there, they went right in there, and they were asking so many questions. I was so proud of them. They were like the only girls asking questions out of all the schools. We toured the campus. They saw dorm rooms, and they had questions for everything, which was amazing. They are taking an intro to education course online. It's a 1 credit, so if they go to LaSalle, they take it there or any other school, which is great. And then they're going to visit LaSalle again in April, and they're going to plan a lesson and then teach it.
Cool.
So, and if they apply to LaSalle and they're accepted, they will only pay $5,000 a year. So that's huge. So trying to tell them, these days you need at least a master's, so maybe you, even if you don't want to be a teacher, you do the teaching and that you teach while you get your master's to be the lawyer to be president of the United States Force when I'm old. So it's a great experience. Anything else to add? Any questions?
So, as 10th grader, I want to ask you a question because you seem to be the youngest. What do you think? What do you want to major in? Have you thought about college much?
Yeah, well, I want to major in psychology. So I feel like when I went to the college and I sat down with the girls, we actually got separated. And we sat down with these girls, and what they were doing was they were writing down ways to allow kids to interact with each other as they learn, so group activities. So even though I don't necessarily know what field in psychology I want to major in yet, it was interesting to see kind of how what they're doing kind of connects to child psychology. So I feel like that was meaningful to me, going to the college and experiencing that and learning new things about that.
Awesome. I want to say to you all, though, you know, the freshman year, you're still trying to figure things out, and we need teachers. I'm not trying to discourage that in any way. But it's okay to change your mind a few times before you figure it out. That's life. Just keep that in mind. Don't stress about it. Go to school, get your lesson, have a good time, enjoy it, because you're only young once. I'm not saying party. Don't misunderstand that, okay? What I'm saying is don't stress, because kids sometimes tend to stress the first year in college, and you don't need to really stress about that, because you'll change your mind several times, and it's okay.
I would just like to compliment you all on your public speaking skills and how you just command the space up there. I know it's not easy to speak in front of a group of people, but all three of you, whether maybe you have been doing this for many years, but it certainly seemed that way this evening. You speak with such confidence, so congratulations to all of you, and I look forward to seeing your journey. And as Zona said, don't rush and don't feel like you've got to jump into something, but if education is where you end up going, I'm really proud that our school district was able to give you a head start in this, and I'm really thankful to both of you for getting this going, because I learned about this when I read it in the paper, and I immediately packed my way and said, we've got to learn about this program more, because it's really a great opportunity. And I think your piece to experiential learning by doing, is something that we talk a lot about at the school committee, and I would agree with you that sometimes that can be much more effective than sitting and just listening and then writing. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
I just want to say I'm very excited for you guys to have this opportunity, and I really hope this is helping guide you with, your interests. And I know I spent some time with Deja in China, and she was a natural born teacher. I mean, she just gathered this group of small children around, and it was definitely something you were gifted with, and I hope you do continue to pursue. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I was very impressed with the presentation and with all of you. You were very eloquent, and wish you luck.
Steve?
Yeah, I was a little disappointed to hear you asking about job searches. Kind of hoped you'd all end up right back here. We need people like you, so please make sure we're on your list when the time comes.
So I'm interested. We have a sophomore and 2 seniors here, and I'm not sure the makeup of the other students who are participating. Seniors.
Yeah.
Do you think, and maybe this is for Faith and Deja more, because they are seniors, that it would have been of value to take it earlier in your school career?
Definitely.
That it would have guided you and maybe given you what you needed a little bit earlier to figure it out.
Yeah, for sure. Like Chanel gets a better insight of what to expect. Like she got to see the campus. She got to see what life was like out of college. I never got to do that in my previous years at the school. So
Plus, she won't be blindsided by the rest of the stress that comes along with it.
A lot of homework. You have mentors that you kind of Skype with, right? to help you talk about?
Mentors at LaSalle will upload videos on some website about what life is, and then they can see them and comment on them.
So to get the kind of firsthand, what's it like from a student's perspective?
Well, at the college, I would say that we had mentors. So we had we had tour guides, but we also had conversations with, people that are kind of recommended to talk to us at the college. So people who, most of them, I would say, were seniors. They were about to come out of college, and most of them, when we would ask them, what are they doing after college, they have no idea. So it's interesting to see that even when you're so far into this journey, you still really don't have it figured out. So.
Well, thank you very, very much. I mean, I'm really impressed by your presentation. I'm excited about the opportunities you guys had, and I'd like to see this expand. I mean, it's tremendous. You guys did very, very well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Net initiative right now as a follow-up.
You want, yes.
Does that make sense?
You do that, yes.
Yeah. May I just do a quick little follow-up?
Yeah.
I think it would be interesting for the people here and the people at home to know that the Nantucket Education Trust has developed an initiative that will be starting this spring that allows any sophomore who wishes to join to do a couple of college trips. And this is, again, thanks to the Nantucket Education Trust that's going to be funding this, but we're going to be taking sophomores to a visit to UMass, and then I think another visit at another time we're hoping Bridgewater State and UMass Dartmouth. That's based on a survey that the guidance office conducted to see where the larger number of students were interested in going. And the idea behind it is if we can get students in the sophomore year to start thinking about college, it can have an impact on how they perform in their junior, senior year. And nowadays, junior summer is too late to start the college search. And that's the way that it used to be. So we're very excited. That initiative, I think, will roll out in April.
Very exciting.
Thank you.
Again,
Thank
that's
you.
why I think it's good to spend a lot of time in guidance. Just making a note there.
Right. Okay, so we'll move on to the Special Needs Advisory Committee update. Michelle Brady and Laura Steele. Yes.
Yes, please.
So, even though the Special Needs Advisory Council's nickname is Snack, we did not bring any snacks. So you have to go to the actual meeting to get the snacks. They bring snacks at the meeting, and I want to introduce Laura Steele. She was the co-chair, but now is the chair of the snack meeting, which is basically parents and any community members, teachers that are interested in getting together once a month to talk about issues related to special education. It is requirement of the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education to have a Special Needs Advisory Council. Some districts are called PAC or CPAC, Special Ed Parent Advisory Council. We meet most months the third Wednesday, and that's our business meeting. We sometimes have speakers, and then it's followed by a parent group called Uncommon Parents. But I'm gonna turn it over to Laura, who's gonna talk to you a little bit more. We're very fortunate to have great parents that are really interested in not just helping their own kids, but helping the entire community of families with special needs students in the district. So very happy to introduce Laura.
So I'm Laura Steele, and I am the chair of the SNAP committee and the mother of Aiden Steele, who is 14, and Kyle, who is 11.
Aiden is on the autism spectrum, and Kyle has ADHD and a learning delay. And I'm also the HR director at Bartlett's Farm. So I appreciate the opportunity to come talk about this. Last year when I joined SNAC, we took on the process of writing a mission statement and bylaws. I think Laura Kabadi talked about that a little bit last year, and really wanted to increase parent and family involvement and awareness of the resources that we have on the island, which there are actually many. But I'll never forget the first time that a special need parent reached out to me when they saw me, with my child and said, I've experienced that. I'm with you. I know that, and this is what helped me. And that was really huge. I've had many Sherpas throughout my journey, and I really just want to pay that forward because it can be very isolating to be the parent of the kid who fights or who has temper tantrums, who struggles to learn or read or play or speak or move like their peers. It can be very isolating for the children, but also for the parents. So we want all of our kids to have the same opportunities to excel and participate and have meaningful relationships, not just with their peers, but with friends, to make friends. And to that end, we meet each month to empower parents in a positive and collaborative way and to implement and share resources. So some of the speakers that we've had come to the SNAC meetings, we have Autism Speaks, Sail to Prevail, which is a great adaptive sailing program, the CAPE Organization for the Rights of the Disabled, CORD, and they brought this great TIP program, which, are you going to talk about that? You want me to So the TIP program, and I have to credit the Special Services Department for bringing that because that was really their brainchild. We're just happy to have it. But the TIP program stands for Transitional Internship Program. And what they do is they help kids that are kind of in that, it's time to find a job, but my son can't just walk into a place and say, I'm applying. He would not interview well. He doesn't have those social skills that would necessarily be a hire. And as a human resources director, I get that. Like, I've interviewed some Spectrum kids, and I'm like, okay, you're Spectrum. Let's see if we can find a place for you, knowing what the situation is. But through this program, they help train the students on how to act on a job and what to do, and then they actually pay the student. So they partner with businesses. Say they would go to the Dreamland or to Bartlett's Farm or wherever, and say, will you take on this child? And we say, sure. And then the child is paid through the TIP program, which is a great way for the businesses to say, sure, I'm willing to take on somebody that I wouldn't necessarily hire, but the kids make $13 an hour to do these jobs. And so this is a really exciting program that's just starting, and signed up Aiden, let's see what happens. But I think I've been wanting to see help him prepare for the real world. I don't want to wait till he's 18 and, so we're taking these steps, and that's exciting. So we also have people from Fairwinds Counseling Center, the Family Resource Center, just to name a few. It's been great to see a lot of the people that have come through there. We've helped organize and promote programs on transition services, the dyslexia experience, anxiety in teens. That came out, we did a couple of anxiety workshops. We were partnered with Fairwinds. And that came directly out of, parents saying, God, this is what my kid is struggling with. And I'm like, make a training, and obviously the basic rights that we do every year. Several of us recently attended the Visions of Community conference, which is put on by the Federation for Children with Special Needs. That was just a couple weeks ago, which was really empowering to just see the community all come together. Both the keynote speakers that they had were amazing, and then there were breakout sessions, and so we all split up, and some of us even hit 2 sessions in one time frame, split our time, and there's a lot of great information that we brought back from that and are eager to share with our group. But we listen to parents to get ideas for what is needed in the community and try to address them. Recently, a parent expressed a need for residential living opportunities as their child gets ready to age out of the system. And I want to be clear that our children don't age out of their disabilities, or their struggles. They just need to find the next path. And, they're still looking for opportunities to connect and live as independently as possible. So we developed a task force and adult programming, which is something that exists in other communities, but not on our little island. So We're calling the group NEXT, which stands for Nantucketers Empowering Exceptional Transitions. And we even have a logo, this is very new, just finalized today, that was created by one of the students at NHS. We put a call out to the graphics class and said, let's have a competition. Well, one student stepped up, and I didn't have it in time to blow it up, but we're gonna go with I wish I could blow it up and show you, but it's Owen Hudson, and he did a fantastic job, and it was more creative than anything I ever even imagined. It's
great.
It's got a neat little like arrows and house, so you'll be seeing that around.
That was awesome.
But Suzanne Franzuto has really been instrumental in leading the charge to, create and drive this bus. And we realized that we either need to create a nonprofit or partner with another nonprofit, come up with a business plan. We need to pull in key members of the community and banking and real estate and lawyers and fundraisers. We have an architect. The dream is to have a small community within our community that has, that it provides housing near the bus, so our kids can get to work, and hopefully they will be employed on the island somewhere. That there, maybe will be some programming, within that setting, but have staff that would live in the community with them, because we have a huge range of needs, and we have some kids who might be able to live pretty independently and just need somebody to check in with them every now and then, who maybe isn't a parent always checking in on them. Or we have kids with very significant needs who, might need to live in a, group setting with the staff member there at all times. So it's really looking at all of those things to try to help our kids remain part of our community and excel and not just get by. So we're really excited about that opportunity. If you'd like to get involved, the next meeting is Monday, April 8th at 7 p.m. in the NES conference room. And then our next snack meeting is tomorrow, and it is at 6 p.m. in the high school conference room. So we really would love to see, we'd love to spread the word. If you can't come, but you know somebody who might benefit, who has a kid with special needs, we'd really love to have more representation across the school system. We have a lot of the parents of younger kids, but I still need a Sherpa. So some high school parents would be great. I still need some help. And so, we'd like to have kids from every school. We're kind of heavy on the elementary. I wouldn't say heavy. There's like maybe 14 of us that show up at a max, but I would like to outgrow that conference room and start having our meetings in a larger space. That's my goal, is to get enough parents to do that. So, but we hope school committee members will join us. Feel free to come. Thank you.
Thank you. That's terrific.
Thank you.
It's terrific.
Fiona?
Question?
I think it's awesome. I think that's a missed step. Next. I think that's a wonderful program, and I'd really like to get involved myself.
I would like to see you there.
Yeah, no, thank you for speaking so passionately and from the heart, because it is a group of our students, our population, that we have to continue to support and promote and support the students and families. And I think that this program next sounds wonderful. I mean, I really do. Excited. And as you're talking about the vision, I can see it. And I think with the right people in place, I think the funding can happen. And I think the home that you're creating or want to create, I think is ideal for students, where they get their independence, but they can remain on the island that they grew up on.
Right.
And I have conversations with many special education teachers, but mostly the TAs who are in the field working with our students. And we are so blessed to have such an amazing staff who day in, day out are working with our students and coming with ideas of what they want to do for the students, how they can support the students and the families. And every time I have a conversation, it makes me incredibly proud that they're part of our district. So a shout out to our staff as well.
Yeah.
But I would love to come on board as well in some way. So thank you.
That would be great.
Sure.
I just want to thank you again. I'm just going to echo everything Pauline said. She said it so clearly and so nicely. And again, I would love to help, because I think it is definitely something that could be of such value in our community. And it's time that our community steps up and helps. So thank you for starting this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Steve?
Thanks. I'll personalize it a little and ask you to give a special hello to Aiden for me.
Oh, thank you. I will.
Thank you.
I appreciate that you want the numbers to grow and fill an even larger room. But I also appreciate that we've gone from 2 or 3 to 14. And I give you credit and I give Michelle credit for, slowly building that cadre, and I think that's wonderful.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. We do have some elections tomorrow because our bench, we used to have 4 people on kind of the board, and a couple people for, because parents with special need have lives, so it's hard to sometimes make time for this. So far right now I'm the chair, and Suzanne Franzuno is the secretary, but we're hoping to have some elections tomorrow and kind of deepen the bench a little bit for of officers. But I can't speak enough about how positive and collaborative the group is. There's been a history sometimes of committees like this being just a let's the airing of the grievances, and I feel very happy to be part of a committee that is not like that, and very energetic and dynamic.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Michelle?
So I'm going to present on student support services. I do a later presentation, I think in May, about special education.
Yep.
But that is a component of student support services. So I'll get into more details about special education, but I totally agree with Colleen about our wonderful staff, and thank you, Laura, and all the work that you've done for the group. It is a really good group. Parents. All right. So I've given you a chart, and then I just kind of broke it down into more of a visual presentation. So looking at our school counselors across the district, they are doing lots of different things, as you can see on the slide. They're doing classroom instruction and social emotional learning. They're doing college and career planning, even at the middle school level, and certainly at the high school. They're doing individual group counseling. They're doing check-ins. They're doing lunch bunches. They're doing screenings for mental health and substance abuse problems. The school counselors are also our 504 liaisons. So students with disabilities who just need accommodation plans may go on a 504 plan. They are the coordinators of the meeting, and they write the 504 plans. Our counselors are making referrals for evaluations for special education. They're attending the IEP meetings. They're also an integral part of our teams that meet in each building. As you can see here, they are called a different name at every building. We have child study, we have response to intervention, we have student of concern, and then we have a student support team. But regardless of the name, they're all meet on a regular basis, talk about students that may have a disability or students that are having some issues, and more importantly, how to help address those. We got a grant this year. It's called the Systemic Student Support Academy, S3A. It's through Boston College and Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. That was for elementary and middle school, so I have 3 of the schools participating. The counselors are involved in that. It's basically looking at the whole child, all the domains that affect their development and affect their progress in school, such as health, family, mental health, and as well as academics. So it's sort of like RTI or MTSS, which is multi-tiered system of supports. We keep changing the name, but it's basically the same thing. Counselors do crisis intervention, including safety risk assessments at the upper grade levels. They help monitor attendance. They provide communication and to parents and do family outreach. And of course, they're also involved in student schedules and parent registration for now. So that's quite a mouthful. So I had asked some of the counselors to give me some fun facts and some data about what do they do. And so the NES counselors, they lead 17 lessons in classrooms every week. They responded to about 164 students so far based on either self-referrals or referrals from parents and teachers. At the NIS school, the counselors lead 14 weekly lunch groups. Some of them are entitled Girl Power, some of them are called Confidence Building. They also lead 9 social emotional learning whole class lessons every week. And they lead weekly 4th and 5th grade Kind Clubs, which services 50 students. NIS counselors so far have conducted 727 student check-ins this year. Each counselor at the middle school has a caseload of about 15 to 20 students whom they work with on their social emotional goals, and they're writing their IEP goals and assessing their progress, as well as doing check-ins and counseling with them. They lead 10 lunch groups or one-to-one sessions every week for a lunch group. And we had 114 7th graders that were screened through signs of suicide or the SBART, which is the what is it? I had it on my other brief intervention referral to treatment. Yes. The high school counselors so far facilitated the college application process on behalf of 68 students. I didn't include a lot about the guidance counselors because I know they've also done a separate presentation. Our school psychologists, we have 2 in our district. They also participate on the school's child study team or the RTI team. Each psychologist conducts about 80 evaluations a year to determine eligibility for special education or 504 plans. Each evaluation consists of multiple assessments. Those might include a cognitive assessment, an academic achievement, and then other areas of development such as social, emotional, behavioral, ADHD assessments, and or autism. They are an integral part of the team to determine whether a student has a disability. They also provide recommendations and consultation to teachers and to families regarding a variety of disabilities, and participate on team meetings. School social workers. So we have 2 school social workers this year. Hopefully next year we will have 4, which is wonderful. They conduct risk assessments. They communicate with outside providers, including referrals to some of our local mental health agencies here. They monitor attendance. They consult to staff. They consult to parents and guardians. They participate in juvenile court proceedings when necessary. They conduct home visits. They also provide individual group treatment similar to the counselors, and they also conduct the screenings. School nurses, fun facts, they are busy. So Jess Douglas does an amazing job of keeping data. So as of the end of February, NES had 3,027 visits to the school nurse office. And you can see that they're all over 3,000 in each building. And then she also has some data for a sample month of October. They have peak hours, usually around lunchtime, ranging from 111 to 177 kids coming in during that hour. Pretty busy place. As I said, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about special education. It's a component of student support services. We have 5 special ed teachers and 11 teaching assistants at NES from K to 2. We have 4 preschool teachers, which are under the domain of special education, and we have 5, equivalent of 5 pre-K teaching assistants. At NIS, we have 5 special ed teachers. We have 8 teaching assistants. Throughout the district, we have our related service providers. We have speech and language therapists, occupational therapists, a physical therapist, and we also have consultants to do some of the work that we don't have enough of a need for, or it's very highly specialized, such as Perkins for the blind, the Learning Center for the Deaf, or the BCBAs. So far. At CPS, we have 7 special ed teachers and 8 assistants, and at NHS, we have the same amount. I didn't put in my presentation, but student support services also includes our school resource officers, our interpretation, translation, though that's also done through the ELL office. And then I think there's, on your chart, it has like, breaks down the consultants. But basically, you know, overall for student support services, every child will receive one of these services during their time, if not every year, at least, you know, during their time in each school. And it's really about addressing the needs of the whole child and all those domains of the student, regardless of a disability. And our goal is just to help them to reach their highest potential and working together. That's
So,
questions?
Sorry, you mentioned that you didn't have all the, maybe the guidance stuff, numbers maybe even. They've seen 68 students or facilitated 68 applications. How many are in our graduating class? Mr. Kozer, do you have that number?
125, 129.
So we're about halfway, well, not everybody's going to college.
Not everybody, and maybe they haven't, maybe they're applying late, unrolling admission, or deferring, but I did get that from the guidance secretary.
Do you think possibly they've met with more than 68 students, of which 68
Oh, yes,
have?
yes. Those are like completed applications.
Okay, I'd like to know
And
those.
maybe Jen Saradells could answer that, you know?
Yeah.
I believe those are just completed applications that
Right.
they needed to write recommendations for, that they helped through that process.
So one of
We
my,
usually have about 80% of our graduating class goes on to either a 4-year or 2-year school or a trade school. And then the other 20% usually enter into the workforce in some capacity.
so my concern is, of all the students, how many have met with guidance at this point?
So we're going to have a report, and Dr. Bucky and I have asked guidance to track that this year. And so when they do make their presentation, they'll be able to tell you how many contacts
Awesome.
they've had with each student.
Thank you.
Yep.
Pauline?
Just a question on the high school guidance. I didn't see, and I think it's because it's been removed from guidance, all the testing. I know there's a
Oh, the
.5
coordinator,
position.
sure, yeah.
That's part of the innovative
Right,
pathways.
I
and
should have
then-
probably added that, because that was.
But that still would come under guidance, would that technically?
Yeah, but I do think
Okay.
it would be part of the student support system.
Right,
Yeah, I think
okay.
that's a good pickup.
Okay.
Oversight.
No, I wasn't trying to trick you. Just a question. I really appreciate getting the nurses visiting data periodically.
You should have them come, they have a lot of data.
It's amazing, and
Yeah.
I love they put in the reason for the visit, because I think that tells us a lot. I think I ask this every year, but I think it's an important one, and I just want to make sure we're still being able to keep up with this, that the students who have the Wilson Reading Program and the Orton Gillingham are getting the services from teachers who are certified in that reading program. Is that
Yes, so we were able to train a few more teachers this year in Wilson Reading. And so at the NIS school, we have, everyone has training in either Orton Gillingham or Wilson Reading, or a combination, you know, some are trained in both. There's working on, like, one teacher is working on a practicum for Wilson to be certified in that. We do have a teacher in, you know, certified in Wilson, Orton Gillingham, LIPS currently at the elementary school. And then we have an Orton Gillingham certified teacher at the middle school, and we have a teacher at the high school who's Wilson trained, and another one who is in her practicum for her Wilson certification as well. So it's actually, it's really, really good for a district of this size to have, and obviously because we're on an island, we need to do it ourselves, and we're gonna continue to grow that. And Anne Morey's been great as our Wilson trainer to help us add people to that.
That's
pool.
terrific. That's
Yes.
great news.
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks, Michelle.
Jen?
Thank you. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the CPS counselors and their roles.
Yes.
Are they really able to connect with all of the students at CPS? It's such a big transition for students coming from NIS to CPS, and let alone all of the changes happening
Right.
in their adolescent bodies.
Right.
Are they finding the time to connect with all of our CPS students?
I don't know if they have connected with each and every one. I know that they're doing some social emotional learning push in to the health classes. And so that's where a lot of the classroom instruction is. And so if they rotate through those classes, that they're catching everybody. It's a busy place as well.
It is a busy place. I'd like to see
Yeah.
in
I
the
can
future a little
follow
more
up.
added support for our CPS counselors.
Sure. I mean, I did. Let's say I reached out to every school to get some details, some more. So they said 6th to 8th grade is the push-in to health classes. So if every student has health, then they're getting at least exposure to that. And then of course they participate in the SOS program for
Right.
7th grade.
And that's
the
another
SBIRT
reason
screening
why I
for
feel
7th
like the
grade.
counselors should be connecting individually with students if they're taking an SOS,
Right.
evaluation.
Right.
Hopefully,
Right.
they're connecting with each and every student and not just the ones that might be sending up red flags.
Right, but then those are those 15 to 20 that each counselor is working with on the caseload. So that's sort of like more of a tier 1.
Right.
But then they are getting into the classroom, and I don't know if Jamie or Peter's here. Oh, there's Jamie. Yeah.
I mean, in addition to the caseloads and pushing in and then doing the screenings, they're also doing an awful lot of on-demand work as needs arise, and they're also doing a lot of proactive work.
Right. I just feel like they're being pulled in so many directions. I hope each of our students are being able to connect with a counselor in the middle school.
They do a tremendous job of, proactively reaching out to kids, talking with the teachers and other support staff about the different needs of the kids. They attend, for example, public planning meetings, to share data, to get data, and again, they're also, they're highly visible.
Right. They do a tremendous job. They do. I just want to make sure they have enough support to handle the students and all of the needs that come in.
And now's the time that they're working for the next couple months on 8th grade students for their schedule. So they're meeting with every
Right.
single 8th grade student as well.
Thank you.
Jen, I just would remind the school committee that that is why we're adding 2 social workers next year to take some of the issues that counselors are dealing with that social workers could pick up. So next year, if our budget passes, we will have a social worker in each school instead of a shared social worker between 2 schools.
Thank you.
Steve?
Just a simple thank you for keeping track of all of this.
Well, all these people are helping us.
I understand
They're
that,
really good
but
with data, so,
it's a lot, and we are appreciative.
Well said, thank you.
I think that this framework built into the school, people don't realize the needs that are present and how we put a lot of effort into addressing them. I think this is an area that everybody's going to want more and more and more because I think it's so important to deal with the kids and make sure they are on the right path. I have a question though.
Sure.
So you have girls' lunch. What about boys' lunch?
About the boys? Do you know, Eve Marie?
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to observe Girl Power in action, and I think it stemmed from the idea that there is, at this age there might be a growing lack of confidence among our girls growing into adolescence about raising their hand, speaking up, advocating for themselves. So
But if we're in a situation
our
where
boys do have boys' lunches, they just don't have a
They don't have a
club
title.
edition.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and I know Mr.
Absolutely.
Siegel runs a few groups and some of them are just boys as well.
Yeah, and so do our guidance counselors.
Right.
I've
Okay.
been witness and privy to those lunch bunches as well.
Good,
We'll
good.
have to come up with a good snazzy.
Yeah, they don't have a snazzy.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
Okay, I would like to give a superintendent search update. I would like to announce that Mr. Kozort is said that he will stay on for another year. And this will allow us a little bit of breathing room in selecting the potential next superintendent or deputy superintendent. We prevailed on him and I threatened him a few times and he gratefully acquiesced to my request.
So do you want me to speak to that?
Sure.
I was approached by the school committee to stay another year, And I just want to be clear that it was on the condition that we have a solution that takes Nantucket Public Schools into the future. And to accomplish that, we will be creating, I will recommend, and the school committee will vote on the position of a deputy superintendent. And the intent is to hire someone that the search committee has already vetted and had recommended as a superintendent candidate. So I can't reveal a name because there's some negotiations that are going on with that person. But I think that the idea is for me to spend a year with that person and helping them navigate some of the pieces that they need to know a little bit better before they become the superintendent on July 1st, 2020. So with that understanding that we can be set for 5 to 10 years, after that point, I have agreed to do that, and I welcome the opportunity to support that person, but also I would expect that we will learn from that person. They will bring some significant skills and background that will support administrators, teachers. So I think it will be a positive move, and it is not yet another administrator. There will be some changes in the administration to accomplish that. And so I think understanding that, I think it's a good plan to move forward for the district. So I look forward to it.
I think the committee really appreciates you reaching out and assuming this position. Thanks again, Mike. Moving on to committee discussion and votes to be taken. A vote to approve the donation to the NH.
Do you want to do
Yeah.
do you want to do the evaluation?
We're going
Under
to
your-
do it later.
Afterwards, okay.
I mean, it's so exciting.
Okay, sorry.
The self-evaluation. To approve the donation to NHS woodshop program from Starfish Plumbing Heating Incorporated in the amount of $1,500.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
A vote to approve the donation to CPS from the NHS class of 2009 for the 8th grade Washington trip in the amount of $3,000.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can we just say thank you? I thought that was so very thoughtful and kind and generous. Thank you very much
That's
to the
great.
class of 2009.
I'm going to recuse from this next vote.
A vote to approve the donation to CPS from Egan Maritime Institute for Maritime Studies in the amount of $20,653.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
A vote to approve a donation to Nantucket Community School from the Nantucket Golf Club Foundation for Youth Sports Grant, fall 2018, in the amount of $5,000.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
A vote to approve donation to Nantucket Intermediate School from the Friends of Nantucket Public Schools for the grade 4 field trip to the Omni Theater at the Museum of Science in the amount of $1,500.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
A vote to create the new position of Deputy Superintendent. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The March 5th meeting minutes.
So
Have a
moved.
motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Transfers and invoices.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And now, you've all been sitting in the edge of your chairs for the school committee self-evaluation. Here's my copy. These are a series of questions in which, around governance, governance, operations, member relations, committee and superintendent relations, strategic planning, fiscal management, community relations, and conduct of meetings. Now, this is a self-evaluation, and I will go through the exciting ones. The committee's policies are clear and up to date. Everybody strongly agreed with that. There was one omission. I don't know whether they lost the sheet or since they didn't agree, disagree, or didn't know. The committee has adopted a mission statement that is consistent with the district's mission statement. Two of our committee members didn't know about the mission statement, and two felt agree and strongly agree.
Did
So
we have
that's-
11 people voting on that one, did we?
No.
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 That's
No.
the number you designate. Agree, disagree.
These are the lighter skin.
We don't add them up.
Oh, I remember doing it.
The committee regularly evaluates its progress relative to goals and objectives that have been adopted annually and through the strategic plan. And there is one agree and 3 disagrees. So that's something I think we need to look at. Because if the committee members don't feel that we've been doing, and I think it's something we ought to investigate. The committee refrains from decision-making at the administrative level and reinforces the expected chain of command, and everybody agreed or strongly agreed with that. The committee members take part in educational workshops and conferences to help them make informed decisions. We had one don't know, and the rest were agree or strongly agree. Under operations, the roles of the committee officers are defined in the committee policy and are understood by all members. We had one no, and the rest agree or strongly agree. I'm not sure what the no really means. New members receive introductory training and orientation, and everybody seems to agree with that. Procedures and protocols for committee operations are published and understood. Everybody agrees with that. We seem to all feel that we treat each other with courtesy and respect, and that we're encouraged to voice opinions. We respect the will of the majority and support decisions once they're made. That we share pertinent information so there are no surprises. That the members do their homework and come prepared to make decisions. Everybody seemed to agree with that. Members understand the role of the individual as a part of the whole group. Again, everybody seemed to agree with that. Now, committee and superintendent relations. The committee regularly evaluates the superintendent using the process outlined by the Department of Education. Everybody strongly agrees. Everybody agrees that the superintendent is very accessible. Committee members contact the superintendent when seeking information. Everybody pretty much agrees on that. The superintendent informs the committee of major personnel decisions. Everybody agrees there's one sort of halfway, a 2-3, which would be agree, disagree, which is a little confusing. The superintendent and committee treat each other with mutual respect and professionalism. And everybody agreed with that. And the committee and the superintendent operate on a no-surprise model. And everybody agrees with that. Now, strategic planning. A long-term strategic plan exists. 3 people disagreed with this. 2 people strongly agreed with it. I think the strategic plan there is a strategic plan, but it's a bit outdated, and there's another one that we're working on, and I think that answers that. Everybody agreed that all constituencies are involved in the strategic planning process. The strategic plan is regularly reviewed. 3 disagreed and 2 agreed. And again, I think right now, being sort of between plans, that sort of explains why that's a problem. The committee tracks the progress of the strategic plan. 3 disagree and 2 agree. Again, I think these plans tend to become outdated and people lose track of them. Under fiscal management, the budget process is documented and published. Everybody agreed. Budget developed on needs. From the bottom up, everybody agreed. The committee as a group presents and advocates for the budget to the town of Nantucket officials and the community. We had 1 disagree. Everybody else agreed that we do. The committee receives regular reports with budget and financial status for the school system. Everybody agreed with that. Community relations. The committee communicates regularly in a systematic way with its constituents, and everybody agreed with that, or strongly agreed. It encourages the participation of community members in as much as decision-making as possible. There was 1 disagree, and everybody else agreed. The committee works cooperatively with other branches of municipal government. Everybody agreed. School system regularly reports its own progress and accomplishments. Everybody agreed. Conduct of meetings. Committee members receive sufficient information far enough in advance to prepare for meetings. Everybody agreed. Public input is encouraged and done according to an established policy. Everybody agreed with that, although I have been accused of being fast. Full and sufficient debate is allowed. Everybody agreed. Discussion is focused on issues, not personalities. Everybody agreed. Physical setting is conducive to productive discussion and decision-making. Everybody agreed. And meetings are frequent enough to prevent overcrowded agendas, and everybody agreed. I think that there are a couple points that around the strategic plan we need to talk about. I think under governance, some of the goals and objectives we need to be clearer on evaluating, making a point to evaluate our progress to this as we go through the year. That seemed to me to be the area of some contention and the strategic plan, as I mentioned. Otherwise, the school committee, in its wisdom, felt it was doing a pretty good job. Nobody's at each other's throats, and we seem to listen to each other and participate in discussion. Does anybody have anything they want to say?
Yeah, I would like to comment. Did we used to have our mission statement on our agenda? Never?
Printed on it?
Printed on it.
No, we have it on some other pieces.
Okay.
Are you
I think in the
talking about the district?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
I think in the distant past.
Maybe we can
feel
do
like I
that, and
remember
if we, you're talking about letterhead?
I think it was probably on clay tablets. It was that long.
all right. I think that would be helpful under governance. It would be nice to review this. I know situation was different this time around because we've had so many other meetings and very important things to discuss, but if we did this in a more timely manner so we could really remember who assigned what to, who was each school committee member assigning what number to each, because I filled this out when it was originally due, and that was a long time ago.
I got mine in on time too.
So if we could review them, I think in a more timely manner after we fill
But
them
you-
out, I think would
you
be
don't-
helpful.
But you don't remember which one you are.
I don't know. I definitely wasn't the one that omitted answers and said yes and no.
You're throwing somebody else on the bus.
But I don't. So it would just be helpful, I think. Those are my comments.
I think it would be helpful. I highlighted the areas because I found some of these answers interesting and some of them not questioning, but just interesting, I guess. So I think it would serve the district well if we highlight the areas that we had discrepancies and either put it on the agenda or take some time in a workshop or something where we could really have an open conversation.
It definitely sounds like a workshop.
Yeah, and I would like to get feedback from the community to see how you all think we're doing. I mean, I think it's important that we hear that as well, and I think then we can also deepen our conversation on this.
We could also make it 360 and we could comment on the audience.
Would you stop? I know you were going to kick me for saying that, but I think it's important. So.
No, I agree. I think
Well,
that.
on that note, though, how would you do that?
Good survey.
Like this?
A survey?
You could do a survey, and I was going to say the same thing if
Thank goodness.
at
So I'm not
the
thrown under the bus.
thing. I mean, that is whenever you do something like that, you're going to open yourselves up. You have to go into it with your eyes open. You'll more likely hear from the people who are not happy than those who are. But I think it's good information, and you look at trends. You don't look at one comment here or there. You want to look at the trends across that, and I think that would be a bold but a good step.
Yeah, I think communication's important because if there's some misunderstanding on either part, that's the time and the opportunity to share. So
Well, it would answer one of the questions about do we allow?
Right.
And does it happen? We can answer that question honestly.
That's right.
I mean, it's hard because a school committee meeting is the
Right.
school committees.
Right.
Right? It's not the public's meeting. And so sometimes that's hard for people to,
Understand.
to completely understand that. And you can't have the back and forth that you might like, and you don't get all of the feedback that you might need.
right.
So,
But there may be an area in communication that we're lacking when decisions are made, and then it's just decided here and then not followed through or shared
Yep.
as best as we can, because obviously we can't get into all the details every time. But I think communication could probably be
Logan had a comment.
increased.
Do you want to submit questions to me with the survey together that you want to know the answers to, or that you think that are?
well, I think this time maybe you want to do the survey on the questions where you had the greatest
Where we had the-
discrepancies. But
Perhaps.
even even a couple of the areas that didn't have discrepancies, there might be a question. So,
I think
for example, I looked at one, and on the the committee members take part in educational workshops and conferences to help them make informed decisions.
how would they know that?
They wouldn't know that.
Right.
Right.
But my feedback would be, I'm not sure that I see that to the degree that
It should be.
it should be.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So there
not to call you out publicly,
yeah, but you should go
I
through
was
and pick
before.
out the
Correct.
questions.
but there are those
Questions
examples.
that
is all
would
I'm
make
saying.
sense for them to have feedback on. That's
Right.
Right.
That's all
So
we're saying.
Zona and I worked on the self-evaluation. Should we get together and work on questions for a survey?
Sure.
That would be great.
Zona?
Thanks, Jen.
Well, we're the policy. I don't know.
Well, you are the policy
and we,
people.
Yeah,
we
we
worked
are.
on the self-evaluation
Sure.
to
I have no problem with that.
personalize it to our school.
I think that
committee.
might be more interesting than, but everybody knows we had a mission statement.
Well, it's not more interesting.
I think it's more
Because I'll tell
interesting.
you, I don't mind telling you, I'm the one that says, I didn't know the
Right.
school committee had its own mission statement.
Well, I think that's where it's
Right.
confusing.
Yeah. I know that the district has a mission statement, but as a school committee going on the third year, I never knew we had our own, and does it coincide?
Right.
So, and I mean that verbally, technically, not in the mind floating in the air.
So we'll,
idea.
I understand what you mean.
so the policy committee will get together and
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
That would be great. I'd love
Yeah.
to have the conversation.
Okay. Subcommittee work group?
Can I make a couple of comments?
Sure.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear people are concerned about public input. It's difficult, I think, for the public with the comment period being before we talk about anything, to know how to give us input. I know our email addresses are available on the website, but I'm not getting a lot of emails. So perhaps one of the questions could be, how do you think you should contact us? Something like that. And then I think the concept of having some kind of a survey is a big, good first step. I'm very concerned about the strategic planning. I'd like to know, and I know it's not for tonight, whether we get it on the agenda, what the status is of the preparation of a new plan. My recollection of the old plan, if we call it that, is that it is gigantic. It has so much in it. I mean, it has to be folded out halfway across Mike's office, is my last visual of it. And I'd like to know where we're getting with that and who's involved and so on as soon as we can.
I'll put that on the horizon.
Thank you.
I just want to tie up Steve's comment regarding school committee. I think, and maybe everyone doesn't know, but any and everyone can approach a school committee member, is my understanding. The problem is, the problem that some people find with that is that you're not going to get the answer from that one school committee member because we're one of 5, and decisions are made as a committee. What happens is, I've made people that approach me aware that you can email me, you can even call me. I'm going to listen. And then what I do with that information usually is I pass it along to Mike, who gets it into the right hands so that your question or your concern gets addressed. It typically isn't always a school committee issue. So I don't want, Steve said something and it just makes me think that everybody's going to run out now and try to come at the school committee members for answers. We can provide answers to questions that the public already knows, but as far as answering or agreeing with your grievance, and that's not our position. That's not the position we're supposed to take, because we have to stand united. We don't always agree, but we find a common ground, and we have to come to an agreement somewhere. Otherwise, you don't have what we like to think is good leadership. And I'm just making a general statement because there are rules and regulations that go along with being a school committee member. And one of those things is that we can't have private meetings amongst ourselves. We can't even email and talk to each other more than one person at a time. So there are those guidelines that we have to follow that you may or may not be aware. That's public knowledge. It's public policy for any and all school committees if you want to challenge that in any way. So I felt the need to say that.
Yeah, I didn't intend to imply that people could expect us to act on input. Listening, passing the information along, perhaps discussing it with other school committee members, see if it's an item that we need to take action on. But we can't, you're absolutely right, and it's regulated. There are regulations about what individual school committee members cannot do. And I use the negative because it's the way they put it to us. So.
Okay. Any subcommittee stuff?
Mike, would you mind commenting or just reporting out on the Student Services Committee because it met last week? I wasn't there. Any update on that?
We heard the new juvenile.
Yeah, I thought that I had. Oh, you know what? I think I put it into the Friday update.
Yes.
I put it into the Friday update, but there were members. This is a committee that meets monthly. Michelle Brady sort of facilitates it. It's a meeting of district counselors and administrators. It includes Kevin Marshall, who's a representative of the Nantucket Police Department. It includes the DCF and includes, I think, the probation was at that last meeting, so we talked a lot about some of the different roles, and really it was more of a discussion about the uptick that they are seeing in our community of mental health issues. And I don't think that that's a surprise to those of us who are in the trenches. We've certainly seen a number of increases. The increases they noted are happening everywhere on the mainland as well as Nantucket. But even they remarked that the increases on Nantucket were significant. And they're following up on more referrals, trying to, and good referrals. So it's not just the number of referrals has increased. There are referrals that are substantiated. A big challenge, I think that many of us know, that there really aren't a lot of foster parenting opportunities on the island. And when DCF does have to make a move to remove a child for their safety from the home, they have to go off island. And that's a significant problem for Nantucket. So I think that pretty much captures, most of our meeting.
Thanks, Mike.
Excuse me.
Student Sue.
Oh, I thought comments on what Koza was saying. I was like, student council, still working on the same old stuff. Our last dance sort of got lost in the shuffle because of some scheduling conflicts. So we're gonna try to, think up another one in the near future. Lots of college students, especially in the next week, are getting back all of their admittance information. So we're hoping to have a big section in Veritas dedicated to where students are getting in.
My favorite section of the year, I have to tell you.
Yeah. On top of that, let me rack my brain for a minute.
Golf club is down to 10. I think you've reported on that.
Golf club is
The
down to
scholars
10.
program, and they get to go out to dinner this week.
Yep.
So we'll be watching to see which fork and spoon you use,
Mm-hmm.
among other things.
Yeah, the school or the teachers were also just educated in the new online MCAS procedures. So we're looking forward to seeing how that turns out, how the students respond to that, how the teachers respond to that, because from what I've heard, there was an seemingly overwhelming amount of new procedures for proctoring the MCAS exam. So we're gonna see what feedback we get on that and hopefully report back.
So just to comment on that, this is the first year, a reminder that the MCAS at the high school is not paper and pencil. It's been, in a digital format at the elementary school and the middle school. But so this is a learning curve for staff and students.
Mm-hmm. The musical also was this past weekend. I was fortunate enough to attend. It was very good. Just a little shout out to everyone who was in that. It's very well done. Badminton was last week and the week prior, and was of course lots of fun. Yeah, that's the gist, I believe.
Agenda?
Well, we have the on the horizon. We're in pretty good shape. I think the school committee needs to determine when their workshop to do the superintendent's evaluation. You have my self-assessment, and you have the assessment by the leadership team of me to help guide. I think you all have those packets. So you can pull that together, and I think that report will be given at the April 2nd meeting at this point.
Oh, okay, we're not gonna do
So
it.
the actual report can
Oh.
be given at the April 2nd meeting.
Okay.
But
We
you
don't
may
have to do
want
any-
to determine when you're going to do that workshop to pull it all together. So you should be looking at next week.
That's going to be
Do we
you.
normally do it? Well, Zona and I have a plan to meet next
Okay.
week. Because I don't think we normally do it as a group. We
No.
just
No,
take all
but-
your
You take the feedback.
yeah. So I send an email out individually to everybody. Individually,
I can vouch for her.
and I've asked for everybody to get the reports in to us by Friday.
So when are you and Zona meeting?
We're meeting Monday.
All right.
So
Okay.
if you want to give it to us Sunday,
Okay.
don't tell anybody else, but
Yeah.
you can.
Okay. Monday morning, I'll drop it at your office. Is that okay?
Fine.
First thing, 8 a.m.
So that's all right. We're easy.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're meeting Monday afternoon. We will get it together. Then we'll send it out individually to you all, ready for the April 2nd, and then you'll report it out.
Perfect.
Right? Is that the plan?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah?
So
Okay.
no workshop.
No workshop?
Right.
Okay.
Steve, you had
Yeah, I had shout outs. It was going to be just a Saturday thing, but there was Thursday and there was Friday. At NIS Thursday evening, the multicultural event was fantastic. If you didn't come, you missed out on the food. You better be there next year. And also, they're currently running an enrichment program for third graders that runs for 6 weeks. Has a variety of, I guess, staff and us outsiders involved in various things. Gives me a chance to work with third graders again, which is interesting after 30 years of middle school kids. But it's a great program every Friday morning for 6 weeks. And then Science Saturday. First of all, we haven't had, I guess, for a number of years, a science fair. And thanks to Mr. Horton and Ms. Hinson, we did this year. Not a lot of participants yet, but we're hoping that that will grow. But I learned more things than I'm going to even try to tell you about. I think the best way to describe it, though, is that when we went into seclusion to try to make up our minds as to the 2 awards we had announced we were going to be giving, we had to create 2 more because all these projects were so good, so interesting. So shout out to them for pulling that off and for the high school kids who participated. And then concurrently in the gym, the STEM Science Festival under the auspices of Mariah Mitchell and our own community school. And hands-on stuff for kids to do. Best fun fact, over 200 kids had the opportunity to be doing the various events that were taking place, from sending rockets in the air to finding out what seawater was compared to fresh water. There had to be, 25 or 30 different opportunities. And as I say, it was all hands-on for the kids. And when I left, because they had to sign in, it was 209 kids, and they were still coming in. And that is just so cool to do for those kids. And I want to thank everybody that was involved.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can come up with
I
more.
can't believe you didn't come to the play.
Now let's talk about.
No personal negative comments, I thought. We all agree in our evaluation.
Well, I don't think Henry did it enough justice. I thought it was tremendous. And an awful lot of time and effort was put into that. And I'm not a frequenter of musicals, but I found it tremendous, very entertaining, and I was just surprised at the talents the kids had.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Talented bunch.
Can we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.